Normally these cars go a wee bit unnoticed as they tackle the day-to-day work, but this one looks a wee bit different, as despite reputations it's got over 220,000 miles on it, so it's probably worth taking a closer look. 2004 the Discovery 3 came out, so they're getting on for age a little now. 19 years for the early models and 18 years for this one specifically, being a 2005 model. But with the changes made to this one, it still looks great today. The Discovery 4 or 4.5 front end swap is quite popular to help the look of the car, bring it up to date a bit more. You know, the 4 and 4.5, you know, they are both just facelift models really. The 3 to 4 was a big change, you know, but you know, it's not a new model though. It's the same chassis, same body. The interior is a lot different in the newer cars, but you know, a lot of the panels and parts and things like that will swap over from one to the other. So, you know, more of a big facelift versus a completely new model. And because of that, you know, you can swap the headlights, the front bumper, the front wings, and the grille. And you've effectively got a Discovery 4 from the outside at the front. Then the lights at the back are the same, straight swap, nothing else to change there. And it does again just bring the car a bit more up to date and keep it a bit more modern looking, despite the age. This car though, we've kept the standard front end from factory, so standard bumper, standard wing, standard lights, but the grille is a Discovery 4 style grille to fit the Discovery 3 lights and bumper. As well as that, the headlights have been split, you know, painted black inside, get rid of the chrome and amber that's in there from factory, which is really the biggest killer for the look of the car, and you know, and making it look its age more than anything else. So get rid of that with the black, and we fitted some nice 3mm DRL or LED rope. Now I've seen like a bunch of guys fitting some LED rope and things like that, or halos to the inside of the car, but you know, they tend to be the thicker style rope or just the plain circle LED, you know, halo style. And I don't think either one of them really help the car, to be honest with you. They add a DRL, but the style of them just doesn't suit the car. It looks a bit cheap. So I think we really hit the nail on the head with the 3mm LED rope we've got here. A couple of small other changes on the outside of the car that really help keep it up to date and modern looking, more like the D4. Would be you know, we've got the colour coded bumpers on this, the colour coded arches, colour coded rear bumper, the D4 lights at the back as well. And there's a colour coded strip on the bottom of the lower tailgate, which from factory is that usual black plastic. I think the other big change to the exterior of the car is the wheels. We've went for the standard sort of, you know, black steel wheels with the big off-road tyres to give it a wee bit more aggressive looking profile. And from the front as well, they sit quite nice along the body of the car. So the wheels themselves come in two options of offset as far as I could see online. You got a slightly higher and a slightly lower offset. I'm not sure, you know, if that's specific to the Discovery options or not, but I went with a slightly lower offset because I wanted to avoid using spacers, run into any issues come MOT time with the tyres sticking out, the arches and things like that. But I needed to clear the brakes on this car. It's got the V8 brakes on the front, so I had to make sure that I'd get the wheels over those and, you know, not run into any issues with that. You know, and, you know, without forcing myself to use spacers. On the wheels themselves, we went with the Falcon Wild Peak 83W tyres. Now these tyres, you know, I was expecting to lose some performance going from a road tyre to these. You know, and I watched plenty of reviews on them. They did get good reviews, but even still, you'd expect there to be some drop off in performance with a slightly lesser contact patch with the, you know, the blocky tread and that and these things. But these tyres have been fantastic, so they have. You know, they get, you know, I think the B rating in the wet, road noise is pretty good, although you don't really hear much in this car anyway, other than some wind noise, probably due to the shape of the car. But they've been fantastic so far. I don't think I could speak highly enough of them, to be honest. Even now, as the weather turns a bit grim, you know, you're not worried in the slightest that you're going to be struggling for grip anywhere. We've got a Range Rover in the family, 2012 L322, and it's running the Yokohama Geolander AT tyres. Price wise, they're roughly the same. I think they may even be slightly dearer, but they're online certainly there isn't a category of review where they outperform these tyres. And having driven both cars in some pretty bad weather, you know, back roads, motorways and things like that, the Falcon is certainly the better performing tyre by quite some way, to be honest. I think the interior of this car is what gives its age away the most, to be honest. I think you can really tell at this time with Land Rover, or the Discovery specifically, you know, it wasn't about luxury as much. It certainly feels a lot more utilitarian inside. The switchgear and the feel of the plastics and that, everything's quite big and chunky and heavy feeling, you know, hard wearing, heavy duty. You know, and the fact that in this interior, certainly anyway, everything's still in really good condition, nothing's broken, no buttons have fell off. Speaks volumes of the build quality at the time, which may be against reputations. I'm not sure of other Discovery 3s, but certainly in this one, yeah, still in good condition. You can tell with the Discovery 4 there was a big push towards, you know, being luxurious, and I think around that time, 2010, you know, with the L322 moving to the L405 with the Range Rover side, both models took a huge step towards luxury, and I think there was a huge jump in price as well. So, you know, you can really tell the difference stepping from one to the other, that there is a big upgrade there. Comfort wise though, on the inside, I mean, this, you know, in the cars that I've driven, this is second to none. You know, we've done countless trips in this down south now, and you know, we've done, you know, 10, 11, 12 hour days sat in this car going down and back up, and you know, never once are you forced to stop or find yourself wriggling in the seat to, you know, to get comfortable again or trying to stretch out in any way. You know, and this is with, you know, 18 years of driving in this car, 220,000 miles of time spent in the seat. You know, it says a lot. It's, you know, it's an excellent place to spend time if you're going to cover some good long journeys. Space in the car is fantastic as well, as you'd expect, you know, a big car like this. But you can get the second and third row seats folded completely flat, so you can fit almost anything in there that you would ever really need to. The space in the back seats as well, the second row seats for an adult is, you know, superb. You know, I've been back there myself, and again, not once are you really ever struggling for space or to keep comfortable if you're travelling for any great distance. Engine wise, in the Discovery 3 came with two engine options in the UK. 2.7 V6 diesel, which is what we're driving just now, and a 4.4 litre V8, which is quite a rare car, to be honest. And if given the choice, it's probably the one I would pick. I'd be lying if I suggested the 2.7 diesel was remotely exciting to drive. It's not. But it's a, you know, it's a more than capable engine. I think it makes about 195 horsepower from factory. This one has been remapped, we believe, makes around, I think, pushes it to around 230. It's still not quick. I mean, this is a car that's, you know, roughly 2.5, maybe, you know, just over 2.5 tons. So it's never going to be the fastest thing in the world, but you know, you shouldn't expect it to be, obviously. But to get up to, you know, driving speeds, motorway speeds, 70 mile an hour, you're not struggling to hit that speed at all. It's perfectly adequate for the car. There's probably good argument for not remapping these cars, particularly with the miles on it, as they're known to have quite a weak engine from the factory already anyway. But in our ownership, we've done about 40,000 miles now, and it's never given us any trouble. I think how you drive it really dictates, and how you look after it dictates how much miles, or how many miles, you're going to get out of the car. If you drive it with a bit of sympathy and you give it the care and maintenance that it needs, especially as the miles start to increase, then you will get a lot of miles out of these cars. Faults, which is probably the thing that everyone hears most about these cars, because there's plenty of them. This car thankfully doesn't suffer from too many faults. Again, probably testament to the ownership that it's had through its life. It's been well looked after. It hasn't had any issues being left to linger and cause further faults. We've got an airbag light on just now, and as of yesterday the upper tailgate handle has stopped working, and the sunroof drain, as I found out in the particularly bad weather in the past few weeks, was leaking into the car down the A-pillar. For how long, I don't know. I did open the rear door one day and a puddle of water poured out onto my feet, so we had to strip the headliner back, check out the drains, get the carpet dried, get the channels dried under the sills there. And since then it's been absolutely fine. It was a half an hour job really. But we've been pretty lucky so far. As for the cars in general, for faults, well, upper tailgate handle failure, lower tailgate handle failure, turbo failure, front diff failure, air suspension failure, EGR valve failure, absolutely anything electrical inside the cabin failure, anything electrical outside the car failure, sunroof leaks, excessive wear, the front lower control arms, and rear hub bushes, bottom end and catastrophic engine failure. There's probably a few more than that as well. Any owner will tell you that any number of things can go wrong with any car, particularly a big car like this, where it puts a lot of strain and stress on the mechanicals. But if well looked after, and if you're willing to get your hands a wee bit dirty, they will last and they will be reliable for you. I wouldn't let the faults or the horror stories put you off owning one. I think if you find one that's had a good life, it's got impeccable service history is a must. They are a fantastic car to own. They'll do everything you could ever possibly need from a car, apart from maybe set lap times or knock hill or any track, but for everything you could possibly throw at it in day-to-day daily use, then yeah, great cars. I think if you are looking at buying one, you're either going to need some capability with the tools or a good local indie specialist. You will need to do some big maintenance jobs from time to time that you can't tackle yourself, and I think online you'll pretty much hear just whatever the job is, just budget £1,000 straight away. I think this year we've spent about £4,000 on big maintenance jobs. Nothing that's let the car hasn't let anyone down at any point. It's just the clutch was starting to slip. That was nearly £1,500. Steering rack was leaking, as well as the one of the ball joints and that, the front being worn, and there was a front wheel bearing at the same time. That was £1,000, and we just recently had the timing belts done and a couple other wee jobs at the same time. That was £1,500. Hopefully that covers everything on the Discovery 3, or this one particularly. If there is anything I've missed or you've seen that I've not explained, then just leave a comment below and I'll try and get some answers back to people. I cleaned this car yesterday, so we're probably going to have to give it another one now when the weather clears. Hopefully see you in another video.